Hi, welcome back to ODE YouTube channel. My name is Paulo and I'm here again to make another Kaweco review. This Kaweco pen that I'm going to review today was sent to me by Kaweco for review purposes, so thank you Kaweco for sending this. This pen comes in this long size box and it is the Kaweco Supra and the version is the brass one. So let's see. This has the same kind of sleeve that you can find on the shorter boxes. The cardboard sleeve goes away. You have a tin box, the same design as the oldest ones that are around, the short ones, but this is the long, but exactly the same design. And inside also the same kind of design, the little sticker, the black thing, paper with information, the pen here, and I will show it to you in a moment, and this tin interior. This tin is very interesting because as the small ones, it has room to put one pen like this, or two pens side by side, and even you have space here. Imagine this is a cartridge box. You can put a cartridge box here, or a box of cartridges, because there is this indentation here that allows to put a box of cartridges on top. So this is quite nice. I was just showing because not everybody knows what this is for. Now let's take this away and let's talk about the pen. So this is a pen that is a long-sized pen. It is made of brass and it is quite heavy. This pen, the weight of this pen is 53 grams, so it weighs quite a lot. This one has this clip, which is made of bronze, but this doesn't come with the pen. Now let's take a look at the pen. On the top of the pen you have the Kaweco logo there. The same kind of logo that you can find on a Kaweco Sport. However, on Kaweco Sports it is a separate metal piece. This one is engraved. Then you have also laser engraved there above the clip. Let me move the clip down. You have Kaweco Supra Germany. Let me put it up again as I like it. And now the pen has this very simple shape, cylindrical, like a cigar-shaped pen, with a rounded top that has that Kaweco logo there that I showed you, and another rounded top or bottom with threads to allow the pen to post securely. Now, this design is the same kind of design of the Kaweco Lilliput. However, it is a bigger pen. And let me just show you for comparison purposes the Kaweco Lilliput. This is the Kaweco Lilliput brass wave. I don't have yet a brass Kaweco Lilliput in the regular shape. So I have only this wave variation. And you can see it is thicker and longer. Now, this pen, the cap unscrews. Let me check how many turns, because for some people this is important. So, one turn, two turns, three and a half turns, so quite a little. Then you have this kind of section that is very common for every Kaweco pen, and then you have a big number 6 nib, and this is very nice because usually on most Kaweco pens, except for one or two models, you have only the number 5 nibs. This nib is just like the number 5 nib with Kaweco engraved, the F beneath, but the feed is different. You can see it has those fins there, and there is no Kaweco logo engraved there. This is a fine nib, and it is a beautiful steel nib. The barrel unscrews, and this pen, because it is longer, it can have a full-size converter, or it can take 2 ink cartridges inside. It takes international ink cartridges or converters, so any international ink cartridge or international converter will fit. Now let me take these out just to show you the... By the way, this is a Kaweco converter, the green one. They made new converters with colors there. This converter does not come with a pen, and here we have the pen, and there is this section of the barrel that is raised because this is a separate piece. You can take it apart, you put it away, and you can screw the pen back in. Now the converter will not fit, only the cartridge or the short international converter, and you have a very interesting short pen. The nib looks too big for this kind of pen, and you can post it like a Kaweco Lilliput, and it becomes a nice sized pen when posted. So let me just show it to you. Like, if we have the pen, let's start with it capped. The pen like this, without this middle section, we have it almost the same size of the Kaweco Lilliput. It's just a little bit bigger. And when we uncap it, you can see it is approximately the same size, but the nib is much longer because it is a number 6 nib. And you can, of course, post the pen securely because it screws in place. And just to compare it with the Kaweco Lilliput, like this. This is the size. So an interesting pen that you can take that part out. So that part is quite interesting because it allows to change the looks of the pen, or the size and the weight, and you may prefer it to be this short. If it's like this, it is a little bit too short as the Lilliput, but when you post it, it becomes the full size. If you have this metal barrel section there to have it full size, it is a full size pen like this, and I find it very comfortable. It is the same kind of balance that you get where if the pen is posted. If you post the pen this way, it becomes very, very long. You see, and I don't find it that interesting, and it affects a little bit the balance. So I would use this and post it, or if I don't use the section, this little part, I will use it posted. This part, the only thing that I don't like that much is that this is raised from the rest. I would prefer that they have done the threads of this to be like this, just the cap raised and the rest at the same level, and I don't like that much. This is so different. It will not affect your writing because it has a long section. It is very comfortable. There is no problem with it. It is a little bit heavy. This pen, as I said, it weighs 53 grams, and the Kaweco Lilliput, this one, the brass, weighs 21, so less than half of this. So this is quite heavy. This, if you take this out, this section, this part of the barrel, you will lose 11 grams. So the pen without this will weigh 42 grams. So it's a nicer size. For comparison purposes, we have here the Kaweco Supra Brass. This is much with lots of patina, and you may see the size of them. And the Kaweco Sport Brass weighs 42 grams, so 11 grams less. The weight of this one is the same of that if you remove this middle part. I also want to show you another pen. This comes from China. This is the like, let me check the name, the like TN Element Brass. It is very similar to this one, but it is more similar to the Lilliput, the same kind of design. However, it is a full-sized pen, a little shorter than the Kaweco Supra, but then it has a number 5 nib. So if we think about everything, the right proportions of nib and pen are in this pen or in this pen, because this one has a number 5 nib, but it is a very small pen. This one is bigger and it has a number 6 nib. This doesn't make that much sense. However, I just wanted to show it to you. Another comparison that I want to make is just to show you there is a version of it made of stainless steel, which is very beautiful also. And now let's go for some size comparison. No, this stays here. For size comparison, let me show you again. This is the Kaweco Supra Brass. This is the Lamy Safari. And this is the Parker Centennial Blue Fold, my beautiful big red Centennial Blue Fold. So this pen is a little shorter than these two, longer than the Kaweco Sport. If I uncap it and don't post it as I would do for writing, I would do the same thing for the Parker Centennial Blue Fold. However, I would post the Kaweco Sport Brass, let me align them by the nib, and I would not post the Lamy Safari. You will see that the sizes of all of them are quite close. Let me do like this. They are quite close, but the interesting thing is that the Kaweco Supra is actually the shortest of all. But if you post it, it will become very long, as I showed you before. So this is heavy, very nice, very comfortable. This is still shiny and new, but it will develop some patina over time, because that's what brass does. This pen costs, without any converter or without the clip, just the box and one spare cartridge, it costs around 115 euros. So it's not an inexpensive pen, but it has a big nib and it is quite nice. Now let's go for the writing sample. And here is the pen and paper and ink inside the pen. And let's start. So the pen is it was uncapped a little bit, so it skipped because I've been showing you the pen. This is the Kaweco Supra made of brass. The nib it has is a fine steel nib. The paper that I'm using is the Rhodia dot pad, and the ink inside is the Sailor Epinard. This is an ink that I really like. It is a green ink. It doesn't look like that. Now you can see it is a muddy green. I really like this kind of green because it looks black. Now, the writing sample. You can see that this nib writes really well, and it is wet enough for a fine nib. At least that's what I find. So let me just put this here, and it's not extremely wet, but it is wet enough for the kind of nib that we're talking about. About the line variation, you can try to have some, but I just feel that when I compare, because they are bigger, probably because of that, when I compare these nib with the nibs from the Kaweco Sport, they are shorter, This one looks to be much softer, and it is softer. You can see the line variation, but it also feels like the nib may spring too soon compared with the other one. So I would not try to get lots of line variation from this. This is not a flex pen, so I would not press these nibs very hard. I would be afraid of doing that. About the wetness, I think I showed you before. It is wet enough for a fine nib. About the line of this pen, it is a regular fine European fine nib, so the same thing that you'll find in other Western brands, comparing with Japanese brands. And this is the line that you have, and on the reverse writing, this is the line that you have. It is just a little bit thinner, but not that much. I would say it's more drier than thinner. And about the skipping, this pen doesn't skip. It writes beautifully. I would say this is a perfect pen to write with. If it skips, it's because I lift the pen off the paper. About the comfort in writing, it's very comfortable to hold. I really like it. However, I have to say that my personal preference goes to using this pen as I would use the Lilliput, so with the cap on the back but without this middle part. I have to say something about that also. However, I find it more interesting to use in a shorter version with the cap posted. I have to say that way it takes more time to write with the pen, because you have to uncap the pen, it gets too short to write with, and then you have to screw the cap on the back. So this will take some time. If you use the pen like this, okay, it takes 3 turns to open the pen, or 2.5, but you're ready to write once you uncap it. You don't need to be screwing the cap on the back of the pen, so this will make some difference. I really like this pen, but I still need to make the review of this one, the steel one, and something that I can say right away is that I like this pen, but I really love the steel one. If I had to choose only one to have, I would choose the steel, because I think it is a not sturdier pen. I think I like the feel of steel more than the feel of brass pens. I have a couple of brass pens here just for this video. I have more brass pens around. I have to say that I have more than brass pens. I have lots of steel pens, and I think I always prefer steel. So, but that review will come soon. Today, this is it. I have to thank you, Kaweco, for sending the pen for review, and to thank you all my viewers, because if it wasn't you, the Kaweco wouldn't send me the pens for review, and this would make no sense. So thank you for watching, thank you for supporting, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.